All right. Well, I'll go ahead and pass this over to our city manager for this work session that we're going to talk about.
Thank you, Mayor. The time got a little away from me, but the chief is not here. So let
Mhm.
me do a quick phone call and find out what's going on.
That sounds good.
We are, so okay, so I do think the mayor's already started the meeting. So if you want to go ahead, chief, and jump in.
I think you might want to turn your mic on too, Chief. There you go.
There we go. Is that better?
That's
Okay.
better.
Okay, so we've been having a discussion about private property crashes. And so I just put together a little paper for you. First off, private property crashes in Colorado are not required by Colorado law. It's really just kind of more of a, I guess, convenience or whatever, but they're not required to be reported because we do them and then they basically just sit in a folder or wherever and they don't go to the state unless they meet certain criteria. Injury, death, alcohol involved. And really that's about it. Those are the only ones that are actually get reported to state. But all the other ones, which is the majority of the ones that we deal with, are people backing into each other. So all we're doing is we're basically going out and we're being reporters for insurance companies. Complete waste of our time when the crash reports don't go anywhere. So I've been talking to Heather about this, and I'll tell you, we're not the only ones to do it. In fact, we're one of the few municipalities of our size that are still doing it. And there's really no reason for us to be doing it. And we average about 300 to 400 accidents in the city a year. And over 100 of those are private property crashes that we're doing reports on. So we're just, in my opinion, we're completely wasting officers' times of going out there and doing that. Now, we do have code enforcement who goes out and does a lot of the private property crashes. But again, at the end of the day, we're wasting a lot of time when they could be doing weeds and doing a lot more productive things than basically writing a report for an insurance company. So really, that's about it. We will, however, we will still go to the scene. But really what this comes down to is we're just not going to do the report anymore. There's, again, unless it meets certain criteria, and this is just kind of the directive I wrote on here. We will still respond to the scene. We will still check to make sure there's no impairment, drugs, or alcohol. And we will check to make sure that they have insurance. They don't have insurance, we'll still write the ticket. However, we're just not going to do a report. We're not going to do an actual accident report. We'll just do what we would normally do if we write a ticket. And we're even going to do it. We're going to make sure that we have a process. So if somebody does need it for their insurance company, that there's a process that they can follow. They can still request copies of the body camera. They can request the CAD dispatch notes from dispatch, as well as any of the body camera and any other stuff like copy of the tickets, like for insurance or whatever. They can request that, of course, still through the PD. It's not like we're going to leave people just completely hanging, but they can also go online and report this. If their insurance company is demanding that they report it, they can still go online. We're going to give them two different options. Either there's a link directly through State Patrol and or State of Colorado. They can go online and report it. Or we have a new system that we're kind of using. It's Carfax, where they can go on and do basically a private property crash on Carfax. And at the second page there, you'll see, I just kind of give you some 3-year crash data. 2023, total of 341 crashes in the city. 103 of those were private property crashes. And there's only 4 of them that would have required that we actually take a report, either injuries, alcohol, or careless and reckless driving. Those are the only ones that we would be required to still do. But again, if there's no injuries, no alcohol, or impairment of any kind, there's no reason for us to be doing a report. 2024, same 337 crashes, 108 were private property. 2025, as of when I wrote this, there was 223 crashes and 84 were private property. So I am open to questions.
Councilor
Yes.
Vigil?
What do you consider private property? Like, would that be like McDonald's?
Great
City.
question. Yes. I'll tell you where one of our number one calls for service, Walmart. People backing each other, City Market, Safeway, any McDonald's. McDonald's is actually a great example because we get a lot of crashes at McDonald's. So that's private property.
Okay.
Anything that is out on the public roadway, highway, or anything like that, of course, we're still going to take those.
Okay.
And Chief, to be clear, you're still responding, but if none of these factors are there, you're not doing the actual reports. And that's where the time starts to come up from an officer's
Absolutely.
use perspective.
Yep.
Councilor Krebs?
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, Chief. I'm glad you could make it. All right. Leaving the scene of an accident. So how does that fold into these if the person leaves before the officer responds?
Yeah, great question, because that is actually one of the criteria. If it is a hit and run, because that happens on private property a lot, hit and run, but it's got to have some valuable evidence that we can use, because all the time we get hit and run crashes on private property, but there's no video cameras and there's nothing like that. So we're still doing a report unless there's like something we can follow up on, like somebody's got a picture or there's a video camera or something like that. If there's that, then absolutely, even if it's on private property, we will follow up on it. But if it's just, because I will tell you one of the other things, and I've seen this over my career with State Patrol as well as here, you will get people who damage their vehicle somewhere else themselves, and then they go to a private parking lot and go, oh, somebody backed into me because they don't want to, whatever. So but there's no evidence whatsoever that it happened there or anything like that. But if we've got video camera or something that we can go to Walmart or whatever, say, hey, you got camera out here? There's somebody saying they got backed into his hit and run. And if we can say yes, then yes, we'll still do it.
Okay, thank you.
Great question.
My only other question would be the demographic that you'll be, the people that live here type thing. We've all been brought up with, if you bump somebody, you instantly call the cops and you wait for the cops to arrive and everything. So, and then they fill out the report. So this is kind of a little bit of a shift. How will the officers educate the public? Will there be like a little instruction card of what their next steps are or something like that?
Yes, when we show up to the scene, we're going to do what we call an exchange of information. We have a sheet. We kind of do that now. We give them information on how they can get the report. The sheet that we'll give them will have a lot more information. So if I back into you at Walmart and me and you, the cops are going to show up, they're going to give both of us form. We're going to fill it out, and then we're going to exchange the information. I'm going to have your insurance information and all your contact, and you're going to have all of mine. And then it'll also have instructions on there on what they can do further if they need it for their insurance.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Sweethoff?
Chief, unsafe backing, I think is a 3-point violation, and so you would not be writing an unsafe backing ticket in a situation like that, and there wouldn't be that on the driving record of whoever was, there would be no determination of who was at fault that the police would make, so that wouldn't go onto someone's driving record, then these little fender benders. right?
That is correct.
So you, Ms. Sanchez?
So I think the point of this work session, because I think technically this is not necessarily something council needs to vote on, but obviously if we're changing the types of things we're responding to from a law enforcement perspective, we want to make sure we have this discussion. If there's concerns, anything like that before we think about moving forward with this kind of line of thought. So I just want to make sure you guys know that now's the time to ask questions or share if you're not comfortable or anything like that.
Yeah, and I agree with Heather, and I think the other part of this is because and then I envision this happening, right, is that we don't, somebody and they're like, well, the cops were lazy and they didn't go out and do their job. I want you guys to know why we're not taking this private property crash, but if it meets certain criteria, of course, we're still going to do it. But I think it's definitely to make sure you guys understand why we're doing it.
When are you thinking about moving forward with it, Chief?
January 1st.
Okay. And will there be some PSAs go out as well to the community?
Yeah, we'll think through what those look like and like the chief mentioned for Counselor Krebs, we'll have like a little information sheet too that the officers will have, especially to make sure they know where they can file a report and do things like that as well.
Okay. Mr. Sweethoff?
So officers wouldn't be taking pictures then either if parties wanted to document damage to try to convince their insurance company of who was at fault or something, that's going to be their responsibility. to
That
do.
absolutely. If they're both still on scene, it's going to be their responsibility to do that. But also understand that we're going to be there and there's going to be body camera available. We're still going to respond.
Okay, Counselor Krebs?
And I'm just, and I heard you mention it briefly. It sounds like we're one of the few municipalities in Colorado that don't currently do this.
Correct. The
Okay.
majority of municipalities in Colorado do not cover private property accidents.
Okay, I don't see any other lights on. We're good?
I guess we could have done 6:30.
We're done by 6. Maybe that's what it was. We were going to be done by 6:30.
So I
Okay,
guess, yeah, if we want to close the work session, we
Okay.
can.
we'll go ahead and close this work session.